This is in response to a few conversations I've had recently. I was talking to a young guy, and he was telling me, oh, it was part of a larger forum, and he was talking about, how he lost his virginity. Oh, he was 14 years old, and he was on vacation, and he brought his parents were away, and he snuck this girl back to his hotel room, and yeah, I snuck the girl back to my hotel room. We had all this amazing, passionate sex. Oh, it was amazing. This was how I lost my virginity. And then he says, yeah, I couldn't walk normal in my pants for like a week afterward. And I'm thinking, what? And I'm like, oh, you have vigorous sex, you've rubbed your circumcised glans penis raw, and now it's scraping in your pants for a week afterwards, and it feels pretty weird until it dries out and dies back to nothing again. Yeah, this is another artifact of infant circumcision, yes. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's so gruesome to even think about. The way this affects, it affects every aspect of male sexuality and by way of sexuality, everything that a male is. And nobody talks about it, nobody even thinks about it. I mean, this is like a subtle thing. But, I mean, this isn't the experience of the intact male. I mean, the glans is kind of raw all the time, but you can put it away when you're done with it. You know, the glans is supposed to be an internal organ. And I mean, this kid, he thinks it's funny. It's something to be yucked up with the boys. He's integrated it into his sense of manliness and self-worth. It's gruesome to think of. I have another story. This was a couple of young men, and by the way, yes, I probed at this, and yes, this kid was circumcised. What I was talking about before, and I was talking to these other people. This was a separate conversation, and they're talking about early masturbatory experiences in their early teens. And they're talking, and there's like this commonality among them where they like, oh yeah, they all, in one way or another, they all, at one time, I mean, circumcised men use lube to masturbate, right? I hope that's not a surprise. I know Europeans are honestly surprised and don't understand the bottle of lotion on the kid's dresser visual masturbation joke. They literally don't understand it, and I've wondered that for a while. Yeah, they don't understand it for the most part. Or some of them think it's sort of a metaphor. They don't understand that circumcised men literally have to use lubrication to masturbate all the time. But anyway, these people were talking about how as early teens, they had all had this common experience where at one time or another, they had used not just hand lotion, but like some kind of soap, caustic soap to masturbate, and how at one point or another, they had all horribly chemically burned their penises with caustic soap to the point where like it was literally unbearable to walk, to where their glans penises were like oozing blood and blood plasma. Like the surface of the glans penis was like oozing liquid. And I'm just thinking to myself, fuck me dead. This is just so gruesome. And again, these men, these boys and men they think it's something funny, they think it's something lighthearted, and they've integrated it into their sense of self-worth, their sense of manliness and manhood, into their coming-of-age experience. And it's just so gruesome to think about. And again, this is another subtle, but I mean, all of them were reporting it. All of them were describing this. I probed them. Yes, they were all circumcised. It's unbelievable. It changes everything about the individual, everything about the man. if you're circumcised, I mean, there's no going back. You don't get your childhood back. You don't get your early childhood experiences back. You don't get your early childhood sexual experiences back. You don't get your early childhood masturbatory experiences back. You don't get your first orgasm back. You don't get the loss of your virginity back. You don't get it back, and it's like the butterfly effect where it affects every single thing about you. What are you? What are you except you are your physical body? You are your interaction with your physical body, and you are the neurological input that the innervation of various parts of your physical body provide to your brain. That's who you are! And circumcision has permanently changed it! It is horrific and gruesome to think of, and it doesn't often get thought of like this. I don't know, it's so fucking horrific. Circumcision has to die. Circumcision must be banned. The perpetrators must be punished. And justice must be done to the victims in as much of a way as possible in the form of government funding for 4Gen and Wake Forest Institute of Regenerative Medicine and government coordinated and directed initiatives specifically to make mutilated men whole to the greatest degree possible. The research for it, the implementation of it on the victims, and the follow-up, because regenerative medicine and cloning has problems. There's going to be a lot of follow-up. It's just so horrific. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Tell me in the comments. Maybe this is an interesting new way of thinking about circumcision. I can't escape it. Take care. Bye-bye.